You're not wrong that that meditation creates a link. I would say there are stronger links, and the stronger that link, the better. So I've been trying to shoot this video because it'll give you a good solid theoretical grounding. Now, I did want to make it easy enough to approach. I boiled it down to 5 principles, right? All magical practice follows these 5 principles, and you can put it through all of these. The first principle is symbolism, right? All of reality, the spirit world, communicates through symbols. We think in words, but the things that are truly powerful to us aren't words, they're symbols. For me, this is the secret to like all this law of correspondence stuff. They were all embedded symbols. The most powerful symbol that I work with, I think, in my day to day is coffee. Right? It's taken on an almost holy tone. Like my regulars and I'll joke about the coffee. Right? I say the business runs on coffee. I talk about it being the sacred drink of the group. Like, it's a whole thing. Well, what does it symbolize? Like when you sit down on a porch with somebody, you ask them, hey, you want some coffee? So it becomes a symbol of that hospitality, but it's also like very much the lifeblood of modern workplace culture, right? I think it was Terence McKenna that said that it's the only drug that's naturalized in the modern American society so much that we have enshrined its use as a holy function throughout the workday. We call it the coffee break. Tarot cards are a giant collection of symbols. I read playing cards because as a gambler, they keep me humble. The second thing is what I've called transpersonal psychology. This is that whole as above, so below thing. The inner and the outer world mirror each other. This is an example of that transpersonal psychology. You cannot alter your thinking out of poverty. Your viewpoint about money shapes how much money you have. But also, how much money you have shapes your viewpoint about money. You cannot spell work your way into more money if you don't believe you deserve money. Is it actually your attitude that's the biggest problem? Or is it actually something outside of you that's the biggest problem? Right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm scrambling to eat, my attitude about money is downstream of scrambling to eat. The third law is something everybody touches on, and that's that intent. The thing about it is that when you're working magic, I think the intent needs to be to perform whatever symbolic action you're doing properly, rather than being attached to the result. What happens is that magic does not work through the pathway you would expect it. So your intent needs to be carried or communicated with the spirit world. It needs to be carried or communicated through your psychology, that symbolism. We design our spell around adjusting your beliefs. Fourth principle is the principle of threshold. All good magic talks about thresholds. Crossroads, shorelines, sunset. Night is a threshold between days. You have the midnight or 3 o'clock stuff. They're symbolically powerful because at threshold moments in your life, change happens. So magic is more effective applied to threshold situations. My advice begins with create a threshold that change can happen in and then do your magic. Right, some traditions talk about things like backing your work. And yes, your mundane actions have to also go in the direction of the thing that you want. You need something to be a little unstable. You need that threshold. And the last one is a thing that people get freaking wrong a lot. That's the principle of effort, right? Nothing happens for free, and I don't mean this in some obscure, oh, magic always takes a price or extracts a price, right? I don't believe that, but I believe you have to be willing to work for it. So yeah, 5 things to think about when you're considering applying any kind of spell work. Symbolism. This is how the universe communicates. Everything needs to be translated to a symbol. Now, a word can be a symbol. I don't have a problem with that. But what you're doing needs to be symbolically significant. A second principle is transpersonal psychology. You know, The inner and outer worlds directly reflect each other, and I do believe that if symbolism is the language of magic, transpersonal psychology is often the way more mystical things work. If your attitude about money is better, you are more likely to win the lottery. Now, do any of us have the kind of attitude about money that would cause us to win the lottery? No. That is that is some entitled nonsense. Watcher builds his entire practice about this. This is a series. Six Ways is the first one. Weaving Fate is the second. And Changeling is the third. They're a good kind of intro to the transpersonal psychology as a magical practice. Jung's Red Book. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of that is extracted from Jungian psychology. The Red Book is his most mystical work. Third law is the law of intent, and intent and effort are different things. Basically, it's your definition. You got to know what you actually want, right? And you've got to be able to hold what you actually want in your head, because what you want out of a symbol carries or refines, it provides context for the word. Fourth law is threshold. I see this one being the biggest problem that most people have. Change happens at the edges of things. Peter Carroll talked about a bell curve and probability, right? This is what we're talking about. If you have an almost 0% chance to manipulate or for something to happen, there's less to manipulate. If you have a larger chance for something to happen, there's more to grab on to. So magic is most effective at things that are most uncertain, a lot of thresholds. And then the last one is effort. At the end of the day, nothing's fucking free. And I don't mean that you have to pay in blood or magic will extract a direct cost out of you. You've got to put the effort in as well, whether that's magical effort or otherwise, for the universe to have some energy to work with. So in any case, that is my lecture